Alright, hey there everybody, Suri here, and welcome back to the weekly reset in Fire Emblem Heroes. Late weeks have been pretty interesting, honestly, ever since Embla came along. It's definitely spiced things up on the offense side of things, and it's actually caused me a couple of problems over the last several weeks. Not too many, I think I've managed fairly well overall, but it's made things interesting. The defense side of things for me ended up holding up pretty well this week. There were 2 clean losses along the way, but the only actual lift loss we took was from a sacrifice play, which is a little unfortunate. Hey there, Em, welcome back to the stream. The rest of them were successes, which was a pleasant surprise since I went back to an older defense setup for this week. I wasn't really planning to work Sothis into the team, so I just went back to an old one and hoped for the best, and ended up working out a lot better than I expected. This first match, I remember taking a look at this one, and it was a very impressive start to the week, with a +10 Valentine's Hana, and a +10 Valentine's Takumi, both from the new banner. Just really impressive to see them both already at +10 with max investment. And they're missing florets, but I think that's forgivable. We don't really get too many florets, and up until the last couple of weeks, I think we were on about 2 months without getting a single floret, so... Oh, right. And, you know, everything else is +10 too. Just on the side. This was a very impressive team to see right at the beginning of the week. That's some good stuff. I was a little surprised that they ended up losing with a maxed out Chaco like this. He's very solid, and Vanilla can keep Elvigan isolated, so it's harder for the team to really follow through. And they just move in here and bait the team out. The slight problem, I think, is that they may have been counting a little too hard on Takumi being able to survive Byleth, and while he does outspeed her, the triangle attack still does a lot of damage. And once he's down, well, the rest of the team starts to fall apart very quickly.
Violence begets nothing.
Hana is obviously going to survive Catfrea. My Catfrea is not particularly highly invested. But they've already lost a couple of major players on their team, and that's enough for them to surrender and move on. This one was interesting. I've seen a lot more of Goto this week than I have in the previous light season. And I actually started using him myself a little bit. I think people sort of overlooked him because Fomortis was on the same banner, and honestly is a much more impressive unit on the surface. He's flashier, but I do think Goto's actually a very capable light mythic, especially during his bonus weeks where he has the extra stats to work with. Oh, +10 Peony. Sadly not using the remixed weapon, but I do think Peony's remix was very solid overall. Gentle Dream alone was just a very solid boost, and I personally already considered her one of, if not the best dancer in the game before her remix, so the remix just helps her push a little further over the top. Pretty much a hit-and-run team here. I don't think they're planning to use Goto too much as an actual combat unit on this squad. It's more about using Veronica and Leaf to just pick apart the enemy team and Kanto back out of the way. And potentially using Goto to intercept anything that would catch up otherwise. With 3 dancers on the team, it's pretty easy for them to hit and run. As long as they can break through the front line. I'm not actually using distant counter on Idun, so it's not too hard for them to do that eventually. But thanks to Medius, it might be a little harder than they would have liked. Veronica does get to punch through the damage reduction of Deflect Magic, thanks to Enclosure.
This is already over.
She's got a really cool combat animation. But it's going to take her more than just one combat to actually take Idun out. I think this one takes Idun out though. With no DR that actually works against it, she's not going to survive more than one round. But she did take 2 rounds of combat to finish off, and that means it's a lot harder for them to actually get out after this. Especially with Medius just Kanto controlling Veronica. Nope, and then they land on a heavy trap, and at that point it's not looking too good for them, honestly. Goto can take out Bram here. The iceberg on the second hit was enough to finish that off.
I think not.
But they haven't actually dealt with Catrio, and Byleth and... yeah, Byleth's just going to move in and start one-shotting people.
Stay where you are. One day, I hoped.
Honestly, really happy with how brave Byleth has turned out since her release. I do think she's been overlooked a little bit in favor of Seliph and his miracle nonsense, but Byleth is a very strong unit in her own right, and I think Elbenricken actually gets a knockout here too.
Let me show you.
I got to update his kit a little bit with the Arcane Lens, and it does make him a lot more of a threat than you might expect coming out of a Grail Dancer who's usually just built with Fortress Defense and trying to out-defense Millas. Yep, and that's where they surrender. This one's a full sweep, which doesn't usually happen. Ooh. Alyssa. Oh. Oh, that is Alyssa. Wow. Honestly, really impressively bulky. That is 60 visible res, and she gets even more stats from her weapon. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't give her a healer special yet, which would have been really neat to see. I do like that we're getting combat healer specials now. They're honestly very scary if you don't handle them properly, and I think they'll be a good boost to staff units in general. And they also make me think that we should probably see an arcane staff at some point. Very impressive. Oh wow, that Oboro. Oh wow, that Oboro. Speaking of arcane weapons, this Oboro is really impressive. I'm a little bit surprised she's using Ether, but I think the point is to get her charging Ether on the first counterattack every time, and then just punch through any defenses with the Spiral and keep it rolling after the first time she activates it. They've got no follow-up support from Lind, 2 Peony for their Dancer, a Goto, and an Air. Interesting that they went for the Kanto. I do like it, honestly. Kanto enabled Air with Disarm Trap is a very nice, flexible support unit. It's a cool option for her. I actually never pulled this oath, so don't have that as a potential option for my own Air at the moment. Maybe someday. Yeah, I think they're just going to move on in, bait things out with the Oboro and Lissa, and try to safe tank their way through this. The null follow-up support's actually really cool, especially for Lissa, since that's not an ability she usually has access to, and combined with her, frankly, insane defenses, makes her very hard to actually deal with. Okay, so they just roll the dice on the trap, have a Boro go into Medius. Doesn't look like she actually gets to finish him off here, though. Nope, just barely misses it. Which I think is okay. I don't think they were really planning to kill him, just try to maybe get the ether charged a little bit. Unfortunately, they went in on turn 3. And turn 3 is Garneff's playground.
My groom, where is he?
Yep, and oh no, I think this is just going to be a chain reaction. Yep, Medius gets to move over and one-shot Lind.
Can't be.
Which means that Idun can move in and take down Lissa. Oh jeez, a triangle attacking Idun. Actually naturally outspeeds this Lissa too.
Why?
Yep, Katria jumps over and takes out air.
Death comes to
Oh jeez, this all went so horribly wrong. And this one isn't going to go so well for Garneff. I am quite amused that Goto is such
Ignore
an
me at your peril.
effective counter to both Garneff and actually Medius too, since it's very in character for him. Yep. And at that point, I guess they just keep going because reasons? They're not going to win this with only Goto and a dancer to play with.
Be gone.
Mostly because I don't think there's any way for Goto to actually kill Idun. She shuts down his auto follow-up and... yeah, this is not ending well for her. Or him, rather. Eldigan's actually going to triangle attack you and get another knockout for himself. That arcane lens is actually doing quite a bit of work for him this week. That's fun to see.
fading fast.
Honestly, really cool to see some highly invested units just in these first few replays. It's not too often that you see that many of them back to back, but it is cool to get them. So this one, oh that's an impressive Edelgard. Aegis is an interesting choice. I think the idea here is that it either turns the second attack into something that does basically 0 damage, or it helps her actually survive the first attack long enough for her Black Eagle rule to kick in. That's a cool idea, especially with the Valoria supporting her to fully charge the Aegis immediately. Very neat. One of the extra fun parts about this is that if she runs into an impact effect or null follow-up, the Aegis triggers on the first swing, she gets to counterattack, and then her opponent's attack ends up fully recharging the Aegis afterwards. So it's pretty easy for her to keep looping this special for every combat. I do like this. This is a neat combo. Yeah, Valoria's really just here to enable Edelgard. She does have Ruse, which is a nice bit of extra support. And, of course, Asker for even more combat stats. Got an Air, bonus weak Fjorm, and a Peony. Yeah, I think this is about as close as you get to just a strictly Omni-Tank Edelgard, who wants to survive anything and everything the defense team can throw at her. It's a very cool idea, though. I like it. Spend the first couple of turns just picking up pots, and making sure I think that Asker is actually adding those buffs for next turn. Yep. Oh no, are they going to move in on turn 3 again? Oh no, they are moving in on turn 3 again. Poor Edelgard. Well, I guess she doesn't get a chance to counterattack then. She is going to survive this. She's 1 damage baseline. First hit's not going to do very much. Second hit's going to do a chunk. Well, a chunk. A little bit more, rather. Shutting down this counterattack, I think, is where they ended up getting messed up, since it means Edelgard doesn't have a chance to heal with her counterattack in the middle of all of this, and this one's going to do some more damage. Yep. Because she doesn't actually get the Aegis going at all for that first round, and that's... Once she's below 25% health, her weapon goes offline, and suddenly it's a lot easier to actually finish her off.
Yeah.
I've done all I can.
And then with that out of the way, Garnev can jump forward, pick up an easy knockout on Valoria. That's most of their threats off the table.
Goodbye.
I don't think this goes too well for Medius. Oh, it can't go badly because Garnev turned off the counterattacks. But he's definitely not finishing Asker off here. I don't think it matters. I think this is where they surrendered and moved on. So, this would be the only match that cost us lived. It's always a little unfortunate to see a sacrifice play be the only reason that you can't actually make it all the way to the top of AR that week. But, it happens. So they've got an Allier. Pretty built up Edelgard. Yeah, I think this is mostly just a hit and run type of squad, using Allier to move in, pick something off, and then either dance her after she close calls out, or do some other stuff. Let's see how they handle it. Honestly, once the defense formation gets broken apart, it's usually not too hard to finish things off. It's mostly a matter of whether or not you're willing to accept losing a unit to get there. And it looks like they are. So they're just going in with Allier here, counting on her to survive a lot, probably, in the enemy phase. And then move Edelgard in to intercept the rest, I guess. Yeah. Byleth does have a chunk of visible damage, but I think she's getting outsped here, so she's not going to be able to get too much done through that DR. Oh! I take it back. Wow, okay. So I guess Edelgard just ends up surviving. Yeah. Not doing too much through that, not without the triangle attacks. Yeah, getting rid of Catria was the big deal for them. With Catria out of the way, I don't think anything really has the firepower to punch through this Edelgard. And even though someone like Garnev can attack without actually getting counterattacked, he's not going to actually do enough damage to matter. Especially not when Medius moves in and just pops Edelgard off.
No mercy.
Yeah, it's not enough. That's okay. Honestly, taking a knockout on the way is enough for me to consider this a reasonably successful defense.
No mercy.
For the most part, people are willing to concede the match if they end up losing a unit like that, so this would not be something I'm too worried about. Yeah. And from there, it's just a matter of cleaning up what's left. It's easy enough to take out Byleth when she's isolated like that, and well, Garnev survives one round, but he's not going to survive the second. Yeah, and then it's just Elfgun, who is not having a good time against an Edelgard like that. I'm impressed that he's able to survive around with her against that Arcane Lance. That follow-up denial is pretty good. So then we get a Brave Dimitri Plonk. Fair enough. Just a bonus doubler Brave Dimitri. It's a fairly basic kit outside of that bonus doubler, but honestly his base kit is really strong, so it's not even a terrible thing. I expect we're going to start seeing a lot more Brave Dimitris in the immediate future, after the next Hall of Forms rolls through. I was not expecting them to put the entire set of CYL4 in the Hall of Forms all together at once. Honestly, I was kind of hoping to see either Kronya or Byleth show up as one of the options. We didn't get either. But I won't complain about getting another Dimitri merge, especially since I can get Finish and probably Panic Smoke for him.
I will protect my people.
Panic Smoke would be really solid for him, I think. Just helps double down on the sabotages that I like to use a lot, and just makes it a lot harder to actually crack him open. Sadly for this Dimitri, Byleth is very good at cracking him open, especially with triangle attacks involved, and yeah, from there she just gets to pick off another freebie.
Such disgrace.
And then everyone else moves in. They don't get in range, but we got 2 and that's enough for them to move on. Ooh. It has actually been a while since I've seen a Brave Hector. This guy used to be the absolute menace of every defense team. I don't think he's necessarily outdated at this point, but I do think that he has enough competition and enough things that are common enough on defenses that he doesn't want to handle them, that he's just not as much of a universal go-to pick anymore. It's still fun to see him maxed out like that, though. Oh wow, that is a maxed out Brave Erica. Very impressive. Mine's still +9. I'm 1 merge short for her, and I'm hoping to pick up that last merge when we get to the Golden Week Hero Fests. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she gets for her remix. Or remix, refine, rather. We don't have Brave remixes, not yet. Oh, that's a +10 Linja too. Wow. So what exactly stopped them from winning this? I'm guessing Lyn can't actually kill Idun on her own, so otherwise that would just be a very easy way in for them. Which is a little surprising since we don't have Deflect Missile, it's only Deflect Magic. What they probably end up doing is just have Erica go in and do the job. Okay, so they just continue setting up. They are dodging Garnif, which is a good thing. It is always funny when Garnif just catches somebody off guard like that, though, and says, "Oh, wait, sorry, you thought that you were setting up fine and everything was okay, but it wasn't." Nobody is allowed to counterattack anymore. Yeah. This is not a fight that Idun is going to win. Especially not with Deflect Magic, and yeah, there's just not really much she's getting done here. Deflect Magic and Aegis, or Aegis, Sacred Cowl, are just not going to help her survive that. Nope. Goto, I think, does get to survive Byleth here, but he also cannot kill her on the counterattack thanks to Divine Pulse.
Ignore me at your peril.
And that can be a bit of a problem, since now she gets danced and can go after whatever she wants. In this case, she just goes after Hector and wipes him off the map.
You go no further.
I was wondering if she was going to go after Hector or Erica. Oh. Oh, and now everything's going to fall apart. Yep, Garneth gets to jump forward and triangle attack Lynn down.
Our mission.
And I'm pretty sure Goto ends up dying to Katria here. Yep.
This is where I fall.
He doesn't do so well in 2 melee matchups, since most of his kit is specifically tailored to fighting ranged opponents. So if a physical melee gets on top of him, he's not going to have a good time. Going for some revenge kills, I guess. Yep. Take down the Byleth and the Katria.
I do.
Katria comes reasonably close to finishing that off. The DR is enough to keep Erica alive, though. Yeah, and that's a surrender. Things are about to go very poorly for them from there. And replay. There we go. This one, I did take a look at this replay already, and I think this is one of the most purely degenerate offense teams I have ever seen. They have a honestly really impressive Ophelia. I do appreciate this. Completely maxed out Double Fury, Special Spiral 4. Basically a great setup for Wings of Mercy after a couple of combats. The degenerate part of this comes in when you realize that she's also got 3 different Atari Azuras backing her up. All of them with Wings of Mercy. And all of them can either dance the other Azuras, or dance Ophelia herself. And yeah, it's... And then of course you've got the Peony in there on top. This one's not using Wings of Mercy, but I think they just use this dance to make sure people get in range of the front line, and they aren't too worried about her actually dancing once you get in on that. And, you know, just to cap things off, the Gale Force Ash on the side. Absolutely degenerate. They don't even have a bonus unit on this team. This is purely a, I want to win this match, no matter what. Yeah, and I think they can just go in on this turn 1. Yep, Blazing Wind right on top of Idun's head means she's not having a good day. And then they just get to continue dancing on in. Or back out for this first turn. May as well take advantage of the safety fence. Yeah, this is the sort of team that I look at and think, okay. Okay, if you really, really want to win that hard, then sure, this works fine. It is surprising to see someone running a non-bonus team in the vault, though. Especially when they do have a +9 Nash for scoring, it's kind of odd. Yeah, and from here, Ophelia is just going to carve her way through the team. Probably going to stay out of range of the Medius afterwards. Yep, just got a Gale Force in with Ash. Oh no, they didn't. Wow. I guess she didn't meet the attack check then. Nope. Dance, dance, dance. And down goes Medius.
I will help.
Just all the bonus dances there. A little bit ridiculous. This one... Ooh. This is a lot of Kanto-enabled hit and run right here. And, I wonder if they get caught by Medius at the end. I feel like they might. Got a far save Robin on the side. Interesting how many save units you see when you're not using Embla on the team, and how many people just assume that if Embla is not on the team, saves turn into a free win. And they really aren't. You still need to be careful, especially if you see a Katria on the defense, since defense teams can field a lot of firepower that you need to be worried about. I think what happens here is, though, is just going to be Kanto control. Kanto control shutting down Yuri after a foul play is just... it's really big, honestly, especially if you foul play forwards instead of trying to get out with it. Or get in with it, rather. No, so this is probably just Veronica beating up Idun for round 2.
Still you persist?
Ah, okay, so using that... So are they going to finish her off here? No. Interesting. So they just back all the way out and wait for the defense to break formation. That's fair. They do end up getting... Yep. Garnev is isolated here, so they take that knockout. Well, I say isolated, he's not being covered by a dune.
This is already over.
Swap peony forward. Rom with his change fate nonsense. So here's where things probably start getting a little unfortunate for them. Oh no, wow, Robin actually outspeeds here. Impressive.
Stay where you are.
She doesn't have a triangle attack online either, which isn't helping, but yeah, Robin just outspeeding her here is really good to see. I haven't used her very much as a far save unit myself. I mostly just stick to near save, but can definitely see her being a good option for that, since you can just slot distant counter into the seal. And she doesn't end up losing too much for doing that, since her A slot is already so stacked.
I hoped.
That's where things start getting awkward though, is Medius just sneaking in for... oh. Medius and Idune both sneaking in for knockouts on the front line.
Is this how it ends?
Yep, and that's enough for them to move on. So that ends up blocking... oh, we did end up getting one more than I saw. Huh. Right. But that match ends up blocking this failure from actually counting, so that's 3 clean losses by the end of the week then. We got one more that came in right at the end. So this is probably going to play out pretty similarly. Oof, plus 10 Corrin. This one's probably going to play out pretty similarly to the Ophelia one, where they're just... oh, so plus 10 mythics too, I guess. Yep. Ooh. I want to get crossbow attack or crossbow speed, or both, for my peony at some point. They're just not skills that are easily accessed yet. Someday. Would be nice to donate 9 attack or speed to whatever carry I'm using. It's a pretty good team. Like I said, this one's, I imagine, going to play out very similarly to the Ophelia one, where they just have 3 dancers backing up somebody who can hit and run very easily, and they'll pick apart the team one turn at a time. Oh, hey there, Regan. Air's been pretty good this week for me. Ended up losing lift 1 time to a sacrifice play on defense, and offense has gone pretty well so far. Haven't actually done the last 2 matches yet, but looking forward to getting to those after we finish going through these defenses. Did end up taking 3 clean losses. They didn't count. It was only 2 clean losses when I started the stream, and one of them came in after I started. So, I'll check that one out once we get there. Yeah, I do can't counterattack, so this doesn't really end well for her in the end. She does survive here, yeah. And probably survives the next round too. But I don't think they're going to try, they're just going to move on out. Yep. Hit and run. Try to make sure they keep isolating Eldigan for next turn. They do miss Eldigan here, but I don't think it's going to matter too much, since Idun ends up in the back corner, so... yeah. With Idun in the back corner like that, everything is exposed, and Corrin's just going to sweep her way through everything. Yep, and they're going to plonk Ash here just to specifically bait out Eldigan and make sure that he gets isolated next turn. This one's legendary, huh? Honestly, I think my first guess would be an engage legendary, actually. I think the most likely candidates would probably be... I don't think we're going to see a legendary Allier yet.
Your life is forfeit.
Honestly, not sure we'd see a legendary from Engage. I think the first Engage we'd see in that category would be a Mythic. So, honestly, I'm not sure. It could. There are quite a few candidates. They've gotten. And they've expanded the potential list a lot for legendaries over time, so it could. There are a lot of options, honestly, at this point. I'm not sure who we'll end up seeing. Yeah. This is honestly just a really well-played hit and run approach. They did a good job of just hitting and running in the first place, and Milla being able to isolate Elfin means that the team doesn't really have good options to catch up. I don't think they'd have had too much of a problem hitting and running, especially in that first turn, even if Eldigan was able to dance. But being able to isolate him just means that it's much easier to deal with.
Time to land the final blow.
That's probably going to take... Oh wow, no, she actually got through that. That special did a lot. And down goes Eldigan. So, we did get one more success in between failures at the end of the week. Yeah, I'm kind of in that boat, Nat, where I'm probably going to want to pull on this legendary banner, and it's not even necessarily for whoever the new person is. I just would like to get another merge or two for Byleth. But yeah. There have been a lot of banners baiting my orbs out lately. Oh, wow, I'm sure this is plus 10. Yeah, that is, oh wow, that's a plus 10 Clarice. I like it, that's a really cool build. I don't know how effective it is. She doesn't have any way to cycle this special very effectively, and her weapon doesn't have slaying either. So I think it's more just of I'm going to throw all of the fun stuff at my favorite. Which is fair. It means that you get to see really spectacular builds like this, and it's always fun to see. I do like her weapon too. She does have a really neat way to sweep and just chip away at an enemy team. But I don't know how effective this is. The bright side of support here is that they actually run 2 peonies on their team, so she has 2 options to stay in 2 spaces of to enable her weapon. Got Ymir. Huh. It's an interesting team. A really spectacular Clarice there. I'm not sure what they plan to do, though, against something that just dances forward, potentially, or just multiple enemies getting on top of you at once. I guess we'll see. 2 dancers does make it easy to hit and run as an approach. Oh, are they just going to bait with Goto? Oh. Okay, so they do get a miracle here, which can help him survive.
With the goddess.
The only problem is, if he can't kill Byleth, and he can't, Null Follow-up and Dying Pulse is a little bit too much for him to deal with.
Farewell.
And then Katria comes in to clean it up. Well, maybe. Not quite, actually. She doesn't quite finish the job. And Milla isolated, so we don't actually get to finish anything off here. Slight problem is that Iduna's actually in a good spot this time around, and covers everybody. And while Clarice can do a little bit of damage in combat here, she's not actually doing any damage post-combat because of Medius. Which really isn't helping their overall strategy of chip the enemy team into oblivion. Especially not with Kanto control. I think they were planning to just Kanto out without dancing. Yeah, I think we're starting to catch them here. Yep. Oh, down goes Clarice. Yep. That's not someone who wants to be tanking Byleth, and honestly I don't think Goto even has enough health to survive it either. Oh, and there goes one of the peonies.
By your side.
Time to sleep.
Miracle only saves you for the first hit. It doesn't work like... it does not work like Roy's holdout and engage. I wonder if we're going to end up seeing a holdout effect the way that it's used in Engage in Heroes at some point. And if we do, I wonder if I can give Hell access to it somehow, because it would be very, very funny. I mean, it kind of overlaps with her weapon, so it would be better to give that to somebody else, but it would open up a lot of Miracle shenanigans, that's for sure. I imagine that if they do put it in the game, they would have to force it to give the user Fatal Smoke, or the Deep Wounds effect. Otherwise, in this game, it's way too easy for a single unit to sustain themselves through every single combat with an effect like that. So they keep going here, I'm not really sure why. Goto's not going to be able to deal with Idun, and maybe they're counting on Ymir to do that for them. Okay, so they do get to do that here.
Never again.
Slight problem, though, at this point is that they're starting to run out of time. And while Ymir does get to finish this off, they only have 2 turns left on the clock. And I think that ends up being what beats them, since they're not surrendering. Mila can tank Eldigan. Even though he does get the bonfire, it's not enough to punch through that defense when he's still mostly defense-focused. Goto takes a couple of rounds to take down Medius, but does get through him eventually. Using Mila to tank here feels dangerous. Yeah, a little bit dangerous there. I was going to say, she's pretty bulky, but she is going to get danced on, and Garnef does do damage. Ah, well, I guess we're going to see a Garnef vs Goto matchup at the end of the week. That's fair enough. This is, again, not a good matchup for Garnef. And while I do think he has a lot of matchups that he doesn't really like to take, he throws enough wrenches in people's strategies on offense that it's fun to include him, especially since it's just not a character you see very often anywhere in the game these days. So what did this... Oh, okay. Yeah, I see exactly where this is going. So, really fun to actually see a Hubert on an offense team that isn't mine. I've really enjoyed using him myself ever since his Refine. Being able to apply exposure to specific targets on a defense team without relying on the enemy team's positioning is extremely strong, especially when you pair it with Altina. This is not the Altina I've been using with it myself, this is the winter version. The nearly maxed out winter version. Yeah, no, I see exactly how this is going. This is, yeah, this is going to be a pretty easy sweep for them, I think. Gale Force Allier too. This is another thing that I've enjoyed using, is Gale Force Allier works really, really well, especially if you pair her with other people who like to Gale Force. She doesn't actually have a support on this team, which means nobody else is getting charge, it's just a self-applied buff. Cool team. They've got, let's see, yeah, Asker's also using Gale Force, so they have some Gale Force options to clean things up around Altina if they need to. But I think the big thing here is just shove Altina in and let her sweep. Yep. Just apply exposure to probably the only unit that would be able to survive her in Idun. And, yeah. Bram goes in first. He's also the only hardy bearing on the team, so that means that she's not going to really worry about very much after this.
Blessing.
Although, I say that, I forgot, she doesn't actually have Vantage yet. She's using null CD. Oh no, she does. Okay, never mind. I was not paying attention to her skills. I thought she had null CD. Oh, she did, but they sniped the hindrance. That's right, so yeah, okay. Sniped the hindrance on top of everything else. This is very much an easy sweep for them. Nice clean sweep for Altina at the end of this. That's okay, it's fair. I think it's a little bit of karmic justice if I'm getting swept by Altina, since I'm having a very good time using her over in Astro Weeks. She's a lot of fun. The remix has just been really strong, and yeah. It's good to, it's honestly just feels good to be able to use her again. And have her do well. Yeah, that's, I was gonna say, that's Altina just crushing it. Picks up the last ether pot, and then she takes out Idun last.
Oh, what fun!
Yep. Pretty clean Vantage sweep at the end of the week. Alright, so I guess the question is, do I want to rematch any of these? I did put together some interesting teams, I think, for this week. This Kronya set has honestly done a lot of work for me over the last couple of light weeks. Giving her Spiral 4 has made her a lot more effective at Vantage sweeping overall, and after getting the former Raphael, I'm able to pulse that down to a fully charged Structured Sky on turn 1. Barely, he's 1 hit point above her with 2 HP seals, and that's a little unfortunate. It's also going to make things very interesting when we get to the next flower increase, because I'm going to need to start giving him flowers just to keep him ahead of her health total. But yeah, her Refine does a lot of work. The exposure makes it so much easier for her to just sweep enemy teams out, and yeah, the extra true damage and pierce that she's getting from Spiral just... she does a lot of work. She does need to watch out for a couple of things. Odd Recovery and Medius are 2 of the bigger ones. And Dumas also, since he can decharge the Ruptured Sky before she lands it, and without that pre-charged Ruptured Sky, she's not going to punch through him. She does have some backup here. Bonus Week Ninian is just really flexible, and I ended up slotting her into almost every team this week. The bonus stats also do let her soak Bright Shrines away from Dimitri, which is nice, even though it's not as necessary anymore since PNA exists, but it also lets her soak Yune away from Dimitri, which is a good thing because he doesn't want to get panicked. I do like my Dimitri. He does a lot of work. Not as much work this week because I do have to use a bonus week Ninian, and it makes it a lot harder to give him a breath or null follow-up support. I'd like to work in null follow-up support on the roster somewhere, but that's really tricky to do in a light week because there's so many infantry light mythics, so you can't just slap an infantry speed tactic in the team somewhere and call it a day. In this team, this is my Goto squad, where he's just going to be my null C disrupt user, and I back him up with Black Knight for near save. I've actually had a couple of maps this week where they've done quite a lot of work, and he's surprisingly good at stalling out a match against Medius, just by sitting there and not taking any damage from Medius at all. Part of that's because he does get to neutralize Medius's bonuses, and then slap him with another minus 16 attack on top of that, and when he's got defenses this high, it's very hard for Medius to do anything about it. That's good stuff. So I'm kinda tempted to at least rematch this one. I'm going to Ophelia triple Azura Hue. Let's just queue up and see what we get first. Oops. Not the resort. See what we run into. Ooh, That's an Ascended Tiki. Oh, it is Tiki and Naga. Okay, this is a fun theme team. I do appreciate it. Oh, I say fun theme team. Okay, +6 Ascended Tiki, +10 there, +10 there, +10 there, and a +10 Naga. It says, wow. Wow. Okay, theme team this may be, but that is a lot of investment. It's a lot of investment, wow. I wasn't paying too much attention to Fallen Tiki's Refine. I remember it being decent without being anything game-breaking. Oh, that's right, she got Ceres, basically. She got Ceres' weapon as her Refine. And bonus doubler. Okay. Ceres and bonus doubler. Ascended Tiki has honestly been such a pest in Tempest Trials for me. She's very annoying to handle if you don't have somebody on the team who can actually deal with her. Haven't seen too many Brave Tikis out in the wild either, so this is going to be interesting. Huh. I wonder if I just throw Dimitri at this. I feel like I could. The only trick is making sure I don't kill everything before we pick up this ether pot in the corner. Could probably also Kronia this. Oh, Kronia would do really well. Hold on. I'm looking at this and thinking, wait, we have Ruptured Sky that pierces damage reduction and everything on the field is a dragon. Yeah, I think that might be what we do. Gives me an excuse to put Kronia on the field and have a little bit of fun with this. I am going to need to be careful with the Legendary Tiki over here because of Far Save, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Still need to make sure that we're not ending the match too early, but I think we can just get this going turn 1. We can have Milliwarp in from here, we'll smite up here, take down the Legendary Tiki, and then probably just start dancing.
It will be done. Okay.
Oh, well, I may need to reconsider this. Hold on. Maybe I should have done some math first. That Tiki's spooky. Okay.
Ready.
Let's see. If we give you Pile of Buffs, does that work? Not quite. So I need to get Ash in there too. Yep, Ash will be enough.
Let Asker guide us. Time to kill?
Barely, but is still enough. And that crack is all we need. Fatal Smoke means that we don't have to worry too much about any of the rest of this. And since none of these have any sort of extra movement to reach to here anymore, this is a safe tile for us. The only question is it worth it to just kill Naga here too? Or do we wait? I think I might want to wait. I do need to be careful with this Tiki, actually, because yeah, once she gets those bonuses online, that's going to be a lot harder to kill. I think if I do this, we enemy phase Naga without any real problems, and if everything else starts moving, that could be a problem for us reaching that ether pod at the end. We can also just Vantage that Tiki after chipping her down a bit more, which is probably the right decision. Yeah, I think we just back out. I'm going to put Kronia here and test this. If this is a real trap, then all it means is that this Tiki gets into an easy vantage range for Kronya next turn. Good. Okay,
I bestow my blessing.
so Mila, you can head up here, break this.
Take my hand.
Raphael, you just move over. Alright, so from here I just need to make sure that we are at least reaching this pot.
Yeah.
And Kronya can still get up here even with the gravity thanks to Ash, so we're going to start by taking Naga out.
You fool!
Now, I
So
think
I've
Raphael is the next one we want to dance with. Peony has wings, we can get her here to dance after this. The trick is honestly just going to be reaching both of, or breaking both of these ether pots without finishing the match. We do have an extra action with Ninian, which helps a lot for reaching this one specifically. So if Ninian dances here, I could have... No, this is vantage, we can't do that. Yeah, if Kronya ends up on this tile, finishing off this Tiki, potentially, to stop her from reaching this and hitting Ninian. Yep, we have 3 more attacks.
This way?
Raphael does need to go here, though, to dance. So we're just going to start with this, and you should be able to kill... Oh, wow, okay. That Tiki's a bit spookier than I expected. Huh. We may need to adjust.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, Oh, that's right, because she decharges the Ruptured Sky, of course. Forgot about that. We do still hit her pretty hard. I think if we chip down that health a little bit more, she'll go down pretty easily. The real trick is just going to be making sure we get to this ether pot in the corner. This is why I should have planned things out instead of just jumping in.
Okay.
Let me see. We can also have Ninian get in here and help with that, actually. So if Ninian goes in and just hits this Tiki, none of them can actually counterattack her because they're all debuffed at this point.
Yeah.
And what I could do is just kill this one. Oh, that one decharges too, but she doesn't have distant counter. They only have one of those heals. And that's fine.
Show me what to
So let's dance here.
I'm with
And let's
you.
see. Oh, wow. Wait, really? Oh, she doesn't get this because she doesn't have 40% HP. Oh no, that's terrible. I didn't realize that was part of her condition. Shows you how much I've actually used Ninian.
Time to kill?
You're going to be an interesting problem to solve, then. If I can. Shoot. I think we have to back out now.
Yeah. Like this.
Yeah, I think we need to back out, and I think I may have goofed up a little harder than I wanted to. This remote breath hits... It's a res check, right?
Okay.
Oh, I'm very annoyed at myself. This could be a problem. This Tiki is not a problem, it's the other one here that I'm worried about being able to kill because I didn't necessarily cleave her as much as we should have. Should have left this Tiki alive. Okay. Probably going to need to break this healing tower. But we need to back out for now.
I do not object.
It
I'll be
will
honest, I
done.
might not actually be able to kill this Tiki. If I can, I think it might end up coming down to
bestow my
Milla on the
blessing.
defense tile, who can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, let's
It
see.
will
I'm
be
going to
done.
smite Raphael over here
Good morning.
and get
More to
Ash
stick
here,
on us.
which
Time
lets
to
you
kill?
warp out, break this, and that lets us bait this Tiki out and just get her
Show
out of the
me
way.
what to do.
You're going to dance Milla. Oh, right, you can't dance anymore. It's okay.
Ready.
You can dance Milla.
Like this.
Get her away from any potential guidance nonsense. And then you're
What's
just
your
going to back up.
plan?
You have Vantage, but so do we. Probably should have put a little bit more thought into this and remembered, oh right, decharge means that we have a much harder time than we want to killing this Tiki.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we can kill this one.
It will be done.
That's right, she has effective versus dragons.
So I vow.
And you can't handle that because of the auto follow-up. We might be in trouble here.
I'm with you.
She has distant counter, there's no way for us to deal with that. Especially not with everybody at 0 health.
Okay.
To be honest, if I had
Show me
Ninian
what to do.
able to sweep this, we'd be fine, but I think without that, we might just be dead. No, we're not quite dead yet. All I need to do is wait, is be patient, make sure that we hit Tiki with Ninian,
What's your plan?
and
I'm
make sure
with
that
you.
Ninian can actually kill said Tiki. Let's see, do you have an auto follow-up? So I think I can have Raphael bait this Tiki out, and as long as he baits her down to here, we could have Ninian attack her, finish her off, and yeah, in theory. There's a lot of in theory going on right now, and I don't like it.
Maybe this
But I think this
way.
is our only way to do
I
it.
bestow my blessing.
What's your
So
plan?
Ninian, you're going to get here.
It will be done.
Going to move Milla here and dance her,
morning.
which gives Raphael a major boost
This
to his
way?
res. Really hoping that he doesn't end up dying here. This is true damage, and she is pretty speedy. So there's a chance that this doesn't work at all.
Time to kill?
Let's go ahead and break that. You
More
back
to
out,
guide us.
and we'll see. If we don't actually kill this Tiki, then we're done. Or if we don't handle this Tiki. Okay, good. They did get healed, which is also really not ideal for us. Okay, he did fine. That's good. You're now the problem. The other problem of this is that we haven't picked up either of these ether pots, so you're the other real issue. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. All we have to do is kill this other Tiki and suddenly the entire weapon goes offline. I'm so silly. Shows how much I've actually been using my Brave Tiki that I am turning into a merge project as well. I should use her more and get more used to this because, yeah. It's also if units attack and if foes attack, so the entire thing hinges on one ally within 3 spaces. How did I miss this? This is, like... it's very silly of me. Okay. With that in mind, we need to pick up these ether pots and close things out this turn. How can I get somebody to this one? That's the trick.
I do not object.
That's a trick that's going to be very hard to pull off, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this I think happens no matter what. I think if I smite Kronya up here, we can Wings of Mercy dance
Show me
through some
what
of
to do.
this. Maybe. If Ash moves here, we can dance her first, then Kanto this way. If we smite her... Tricky, tricky nonsense. I don't like it. So if Ash moves... I can't believe I messed this up this hard. It's just a theme team that's for fun, with a lot of it spooky investment, to be fair, but it's a fun theme team, it's not supposed to be quite this tricky. I say that, and it's like just casually discounting the fact that these are max investment tikis, for the most part.
Okay.
You're the only one with Wings of Mercy on the team. How do we reach that one in the back? I don't technically need to. All we need is one ether pot here, and we'll be fine. I would like to get both. I don't know how I'll be able to do that. It's a lot of distance to cover. So I guess, hold on, if I have Milla smite
I'm with
you after this Tiki is dead, and then we dance her with Raphael, she can smite Ninian and that gets one of these. The problem is the second ether pot then. That gets us one. We still need to pick up another one.
Time to kill.
Let's start with this, and see if I'm completely wrong about
You're in my way.
the Brave Tiki, because if I'm wrong about the Brave Tiki, then we just lose anyway, and that doesn't matter.
Good morning.
Like this.
I wonder if I can get out of range of her this turn. I'm not sure. Honestly, don't think so.
So I vow.
Oh wow. Okay, Raphael can actually wall you out for a turn. That is really good to see. So yeah, she loses everything, doesn't she?
What's your plan?
So if Raphael can stall her for a turn,
It will
you
be
can't.
done.
You take effective damage and that's too much. But Raphael can, and Kronya should be able to as well. So if I go like
This way.
this...
Good morning.
I bestow my blessing.
Here, let's move Milla here for now, and
Ready.
dance Peony here.
Okay.
Let's see. Yes, okay, so this kills Tiki. She's in range, but she's fatal smoked, so we can block
Take
this
my
area
hand.
off and buy ourselves another turn. And if we
Show
buy
me what
ourselves
to
one more
do.
turn, then Minion can give us a free dance and extra action, which
This way?
does a lot. Yep, you survive her.
Truly?
This is important. You survive her,
I'm with you.
and we'll just wait. All of the nonsense. Yeah, we're just going after Raphael. It's fine. Raphael is not going to kill you. You're also not going to kill him. These are both important things.
A special day.
Oh shoot, he did. Oh no, he got blue flame. No, Raphael, why did you do this? The blue flame plus the extra Laguz bonus. Oh no. Okay, we're going to have to do 2 matches then. And I better not goof this up. Because, yeah, we can't double anymore. Oh, that's tragic. Okay. Well, I am very, very silly, is what we come down to with this. Okay, so we've got a Catria ball. Lovely. Roraven Seeker. Oh, this reminds me a lot of some of the other, some of the older setups with, yeah, the Hardy Kector in the front. Okay. How do we want to approach you then? Hardy Kector is probably not something I can get through with Kronya. I can't believe I messed up that badly. Jeez. Didn't even get a single ether pot. I was not expecting Raphael to kill her there. Shoot. Okay. Yeah, Kronya... Yeah, she'd have to punch through Hector and Medius on the first turn to have any chance of making this work, so Kronya's not happening here. I'm also not sure about Goto. If I isolate Sigurd, then I think he doesn't catch us because all the dances should end up landing on Medius. Well, after this Sigurd dances Veronica, we can bait this one out with Goto, and from there things should be pretty straightforward. Probably. Could also just try to throw Dimitri at this, but triangle attacks can get a little bit spooky. That is a +4 Catria. Let me see. Do have the leg yarn option. As long as we get you out of the way, leg yarn can handle the rest, and you do a good job of putting her into vantage range yourself. Oh, that might be the play. So if what we do here is basically say Veronica puts us into vantage range with leg yarn, nothing else can catch us as long as we isolate Sigurd this turn. All we have to do then is make sure Veronica dies, and then leg yarn should be able to sweep her way through everything here. Oh wow, that is a +10 Medius. That is a +10 Medius. Okay, I should be taking this more seriously than I am. Honestly, I think I'm going to go with the Goto version of this. I think this works. Zelgius has no problems handling basically anything here, as long as they're not triangle attacking him, and once we break the formation by just getting Veronica to attack us, that shouldn't be too hard, I hope. Let's go with this. We've got ladders. I'm hoping I don't have to use them, but I'm a little bit rattled after that last match, and yeah. So we need to have you isolating Sigurd, and then I want you down here after the first turn. And yeah, so Veronica is the only major threat. Sigurd is not that big of a deal. Triandra is also not that big of a deal. Triangle Adept Lancebreaker Triandra. Someone's still concerned about Hector's. I wonder if I even break this. If I break that, it does give us a little bit more flexibility with moving around next turn, and that can help a lot. Oh, that's right. Okay. I'm glad I'm looking at Veronica here. We need to wait one turn before we get this started. If I don't wait, then this odd recovery kicks in. Sigurd is no longer isolated, and that is a problem for us. So, we are not starting this on turn 1. We are waiting a turn, and then we get this going. I need to make sure I pick up both ether pots this time. I can't miss either of them. I don't think that's going to be too hard to do. Hector should be pretty easy to kite around, and yeah. Let's hope, because if not, this is going to be one of the most disastrous AR seasons for me in a very, very long time.
Lord Asker, guide us. Maybe this way. What's your plan?
Yep, Ninian, you just stay in the corner. Okay. And turn 2, Goto, you're going to enemy phase that Veronica. And that is literally all I'm planning to do. Does mean I'm not isolating Sigurd next turn, which is unfortunate, but I think that's fine. Yep, dance comes through, Veronica should just move in, get herself killed. Goto's very good at dealing with flash.
Be gone.
For the record, I did end up using trait fruits on this Goto. I pulled 2 plus speed versions of Goto, and that's not really helpful, honestly. Okay. So now we just need to worry about the triangle attacks. That should be something we can manage, as long as I keep everybody out of range. Sigurd I might actually just end up baiting. He's not too hard to bait, thanks to... Yeah. So if I bait Sigurd here with Ashe, Ashe doesn't actually worry about this at all. Roar Raven or not, he's not doing damage to her. Well, I say that. Hold on, he has 71 attack. 65 attack,
Lord, ask or guide
which
us.
gets plus 26. So 65 is... Okay, she can tank 1 round with him, which is probably fine. He can't get danced, and that does bait one of the dancers away from actually contributing to anything. Also ends up baiting out Sigurd and Triandra, since Sigurd is going to rally. But it does mean we don't have a good way to bait out this Catria. He would rally Catria, and he would do it from here, since this is the least threatened tile. Which means he's not getting danced before the Catria is dead. And I think that's okay. So if I'm putting Goto here, Ash is getting over here, I think
At once.
you should go after Ash instead of Black Knight, since Black Knight cuts it by 40% and Ash does not.
Ready.
I might not want him tanking that, actually. Gets a little cramped in here, doesn't it, on the following turn? Yeah, and Goto you probably don't want to be up there. Mostly since these triangle attacks would not be healthy for the Black Knight. He doesn't want to tank that. This Sigurd with pass is also problematic. We're not very careful about it. I think I need to bait the denser Sigurd and do it with Ash. She needs to go here. And from there, it's just going to be about baiting out Catria so that we don't have to worry about triangle attacks anymore. You should end up rallying Catria. This Sigurd should attack before Catria does, because Catria will die. So we have Sigurd here, Catria is dead, and these two are up, which means Triandra moves into it, dance this Sigurd, and then he has 1, 2, 3, 4. So he can't get through here. He can go after the Black Knight, but it should be okay. In theory. In theory, everything is fine.
I go.
Now, Goto, you're going to be here. I think it's actually very safe to have Peony dance where Ash is standing now, and get Black Knight down here, so that Sigurd can't attack him. That should be fine, and that also lets me give Ash... Ash has already got those, so that's not even doing very much. But I can move... Yeah, okay, so you're going to move here. This is fine, I hope. This is fine. We're going to be baiting this Sigurd, so he's not actually attacking
Lord,
us.
ask or guide us.
At once.
Zelgius, you move over. We're going to dance you here, and then we're going to move down here. And we're going to hope that I have figured this out correctly. If not, well, like I said, we have ladders, and I'm probably going faster than I should be here. Oh, you baited Triandra. Interesting. Or danced Triandra, rather. You know what? That's actually really good for us. That's one dancer out of the way. And it wasn't Sigurd. That's... Wait, why is Sigurd not moving? He's finished his action. It's so weird. Oh, there must have been a second rally coming out of their legendary Sigurd. That's what's going on here. Oh, okay, so we did end up getting the Hector. So...
Are you the praying type?
Goodbye, Hector. I hope you are the praying type. Okay, so... This went really well, overall. The only trick now is handling these two Sigurds. And I think... Honestly, would like to just have Goto wall out Medius. He shouldn't have too much of a problem with that, as long as we can take these Sigurds out around him. That part might get tricky. This one doesn't have any real defenses, so as long as we get onto him, he should die. This one in the corner, we can bait out with Ash, which is not bad at all. There's also the thought that we just bait this Sigurd into attacking us, and then kill these two and get them off the board. Medius is in a terrible spot for us right now, and if I bait this Sigurd into this corner, we can just use 2 people, block him in, and then he can't do anything else for the rest of the fight. So I think that's what we're going to do. Yep, you should
Ready.
do damage to the Black Knight, so I shouldn't have to worry about you rallying around anywhere.
Truly?
I just need to make sure that Ash survives you, and
I do
she
not
should.
object.
You never outspeed her and can't
My
one-shot
master
her.
guide us.
And with this going away, you have 45 attack, 46 attack. Yeah, 46 attack, then add some triangles to that, and 18, yeah. Okay, so you can't really do much damage to her. That is important. I think we just wait right here. Yep, we're just going to Dense Ash and sit tight. Pass isn't letting you through because you don't have enough movement. I'm a little worried that I'm forgetting something important. Hold on. Sigurd, you have 75 attack, 80 attack, plus another 7.
Command me.
So 80 attack plus 7 is 87. The problem is that he's also tanking a massive penalty here. Hold on. Yeah, I think 70 attack is the cutoff for this one, if I remember right. Somewhere around 72. So assuming he's tanking minus 10 attack, that takes out all of this and part of this, leaves him with plus 2 attack that's not visible, so he has 77, plus 15 from that is 92. Yeah, so he's definitely doing damage. He's never going to rally. He's never going to rally, I believe. If he rallies, then there's a good chance we just get wrecked because he has pass, and I'm really hoping that's not the case. It would be awkward. Okay, good. Baited this Sigurd out. He's the only one who doesn't die, so he attacks first and does 3 damage to Ash. Excellent. Ash is not carrying. She is a happy cow.
Withdraw your blade.
This is going to chunk, but even with Fatal Smoke, Special Fighter 4 is good. And you don't have pass. And you don't do very much damage to him at all.
Are you the praying type?
I love that special quote. I really do. It's so great. Okay, so now we just want to box you in. Which shouldn't be too hard, I think. So, you've got reposition. We just need to get 2 people here. If I get Ash over onto this side, she helps somebody else get right in here, and that's
I do
perfect.
not object.
So, if we get you here, Goto can break the school for us.
Ready.
Upon your
Yeah,
word.
he's going to do that here.
Truly?
Command me.
Is this right? It's not quite right, is it? Hold
My
on.
master guide us.
It's okay, doesn't matter. We can just move Ash here.
Show me
Ninion's
what
going to
do.
dance her.
Truly?
She moves here, and
What's
then
your
Ninion
plan?
can just move right here. And we're fine. Sigurd is stuck in place.
Ready.
We no longer have to worry
Like
about very much at all.
At once.
And
bestow
that should
my
be easy
blessing.
ether pots for us, which is a relief. Spooky. Don't lie. It's a spooky match.
It will be done.
Command me.
Maybe this way.
Ready.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Just break our way in, and eventually we will get to these ether pots.
I go.
Let me think.
Upon your word.
I do
If I
not
move you
object.
here, we can get Goto up here and pick that ether pod up. And then Ninian can grab this one.
I bestow my blessing.
Maybe I
Like
just
this.
smite Ash. I think this is better.
Lord
If you can
Asker,
get
guide
here,
us.
I
Goto
go.
grabs this.
What's
Ninian
your plan?
breaks pot number 2.
Good morning.
And we'll give this one to Peony. I'd rather give it to Zelkias, but we have another match to do, so let's just move on. Ooh, spicy match though. Alright, one more to go. One more to go and we are queuing at rank 511, so odds are we're finding some spicy stuff up here. Oh boy. Yeah, that's looking very spicy, isn't it? We've got a Marth, Hardy bearing Crom with Deadeye. We've got a +9 Medius, we've got a +10 Flame Lin. Oh my, okay. Wow. This Deadeye is also getting fully charged. Oh wow. I wonder if I can actually deal with this. I'm looking at it and thinking and going, huh, hold on. The one thing they do not have is a far save outside of Marth. Wonder if I can make this work with that in mind. Huh. Oh, jeez, that Byleth. Okay, so we have an Infantry Pulse Chain with a Flow Guard Catria. Oh, jeez. This is the sort of match I would find every now and then, and probably spend most of a day just puzzling over it to figure out exactly the right way to deal with it. I don't know. We'll see. This is a spooky match. Yeah, Catria makes this a lot more annoying because of the pre-charged Deadeye on Crom. If it wasn't fully charged, then I think Goto would actually be able to survive this and deal with a lot of it. But with it fully charged, that gets a lot harder to do. Yeah, so he's pulsing this to fully charged, and this is getting triple pulsed. This feels like a bit of an overlap. I don't know if they needed all three, but I guess this does cover the occasional box of maybe someone is using an out-of-season Elevine. So let's see, let me refresh myself on this Refine. This is another one that I remember looking at and haven't really seen it much, so I haven't figured out all the stuff it involves. We've got... So, if bonus is active, gets stats and breath. Within 3 spaces, gets more stats, and while defending, the rest of it. So if he's actually initiating combat, the rest of this Refine doesn't actually matter. He does get Reverse Desperation, which is cool. It's even got attack speed far save. That Marth is absolutely glorious. Really. Spooky stuff here. That Lin is one of the other ones that concerns me. The one thing I am looking at here and wondering is if I could have my Dimitri go in here and just wreck this with Panic Smoke. The trick is making sure he gets through this Lin without taking too much damage. That would be the only spooky part about this. Well, that and triangle attacks. Triangle attacks hurt. We don't like those very much. Okay. So, yeah, I don't have breath on this, so we don't have consistent Deadeyes for Lake Urn, which is another potential problem point. Why does she have infantry pulse? Oh, it's for Medius, of course, so Medius gets a pre-charged iceberg. Fair enough. Huh. So, I guess the question here is, can Legiorn make it through this? He neutralizes bonuses on his opponent, but she steals bonuses from, or steals a pile of stats from a nearby ally anyway? Huh. He doesn't actually have that much defense. I think she can two-shot him pretty easily. And if she two-shots the Marth, she can probably get through the Lin eventually. Eventually, maybe. The trick is just making sure that she takes out the Crom before he gets on top of her. We do have a few dances, which helps a lot. I'm not sure Kronya cracks this. It's the only thing I'm looking at, because she'd have to take out the Medius early, and she can't take out the Medius without going through Marth first. There is a very reasonable chance she can kill the Marth in one hit, but I don't know if I can get her to do that, also kill the Medius, and then get out of the range of this team on turn 1. It's a lot to ask, since these 4 structures are all in our way. Wow, okay, this is... I might have wanted to just go browse the rematches for this one. This one's a spicy one to close the week out. Gale Force I don't think is on the table here. This Lin is just a little bit too hard to crack for any of the Gale Force units on the team. She's got, like, what, 69, 74 speed right here? Jeez. 74 speed on that Lin. And that is a lot. That is a lot to deal with. Huh. Okay. I'm thinking it's going to be either Legiorn or Dimitri, and between the two, I am leaning towards Legiorn. Dimitri would probably be able to kill the Lin. The problem is that he's probably not surviving the triangle attacks that come through after that. So I think the only way we have to get through this is with Legiorn. Legiorn can get in here. If I hypothetically put Ashe here, she can warp right up here, kill the Lin, and then we just have to dance her to get her out because Kanto control is stopping that up. Oh wait, and it's not even killing the Lin, it's just killing the Marth. I think this is how we do it though. They do have 3 duos on the team, so we can't get the extra action too quickly, but I think this is... I think this team's our best shot at this. So, let's see if I can make this work somehow. So the idea here is Ashe, I set Ashe up to get, at least while she's transformed, she's going to be doubling down on the Ardent Durandal from Eliwood. And that means we can get Legiorn's weapon online right here, just by letting her warp up and attack into Marth. Once we do that, the only trick is making sure we also get someone to dance her. That part might get a little trickier than I'd like. No. Let's see. Peony is the best option to get in there and dance since she can actually dance on this tile. I don't know if I can do that and get out on turn 1. I don't necessarily have to do this on turn 1, but if I do, that could let us go in, at least do some damage to or snipe the Lin for the following turn, and just help thin out the ranks a little bit more. Assuming we can kill Marth and get out, this set of structures is going to do a lot of work for us just by funneling them all through this forest tile. And even with Catria Orders buffs online, that should work out for us. So, let me see. Ash, you need to be here, and you also need to transform. If I just smite her up with Milla, that gets her in position and leaves her action, which helps a little bit. I can also just move Legarn over, dance her, and then have her go in. Which, in theory, means I can smite Peony over this way. I think this works. So if I smite Peony, she's over here, and Ash can just reposition Legarn and then Kanto over because this limits it to Kanto 1 for melee units, which gets us out of range. Okay, I think this works. This works assuming I'm not horribly overestimating Legarn and she is in fact able to go in there and take out this Marth in one round. I think she can. He doesn't currently have bonuses, but that doesn't matter, so he's still getting +8 to stats, which is 37.
Sure.
But she does have a lot of attack on her own and hits him twice, so I'm hoping that's enough. I haven't done the map on this. There's a good chance that we just get wrecked by
From darkness into darkness.
pure virtue of not enough attack.
Staying quiet.
Oh, wow. Wait, what? Oh. Oh, he has Vantage. Well, then we just surrender. I completely misread that. We're fine. Okay. That, nope. That's the... No. If you don't have Hardy Bearing, you don't get to hit me before I hit you twice. And that's not good for Legarn, she's not surviving that. Okay, let me go over here, and we're just going to take a grudge rematch on this and see how that works. That was a spooky defense. I'm probably going to have to go refine my offense teams a little bit if we're losing to stuff like that, because there's no reason for us to be losing to stuff like that. That Serpentine Staff is rude, wow. Double AoE specials, well... I'm smelling a Goto match here, actually. Goto seems like he'd be pretty good. Yep, got a Hardy Kector. Distant counter Vantage on that. Okay. The only problem with Goto is that he doesn't necessarily get to heal in this first round, and that could be a problem. If I isolate you on turn 2, that means that you don't get to dance. You get danced and you'd go in, but I don't think you are really a concern at all for him. Yep, I'm thinking this is a Goto match. Kronya would be nice. I don't know if she can get through the Hector, and not getting through Hector is a bit of a deal breaker, since she does need to apply that splash damage. This combination is also just very annoying between Odd Recovery and the Healing Tower. I actually ended up using a ladder on this earlier this week because I wasn't sure how this interaction worked, but Odd Recovery clears off Fatal Smoke before the Healing Tower kicks in, which means that, well, you know, if anything has taken damage in that area, it's going back to full health whether you have Fatal Smoke on them or not. Let's see. I do really like Goto here, though. I think he just cracks this open. The Blazing Specials really aren't going to do much to him. And as long as we keep people out of range of Ophelia, we can block basically the entire map off right here. And that works. I don't see anything wrong with this. As long as he doesn't take too much damage, the deep wounds could be a problem, especially since this Panic Manor stops him from actually using any visible buffs. He doesn't get debuffed thanks to Peony, but not being able to use those buffs is a problem, especially since even taking 80% reduced damage, these growing flames can be spooky. Now, I don't think we necessarily have to get Sonia or Ophelia at the same time. I think we can actually bait Nana out as long as we're doing this on turn 2. And that should be the only thing we actually end up fighting this turn, as long as we're baiting her from one of these 3 tiles. Yeah, I think that's how we do this then. Alright, Goto gets some more work this week then. Excellent.
I bestow my blessing.
Sorry this has been a bit of a rougher offense set than usual. That last one, I should have read Mirth's Refine a little bit better than I did. If I had, I would not have been trying to use Lake Yarn into him, because that's just not happening. Okay, so we wait for the first turn. Shouldn't be hard, safety fence is not getting broken, so... And then we're just going to have Goto bait you out. He shouldn't really take too much damage from this. He'll take like 7, but 7 is not going to stop him from tanking the rest of the ranged units on the following turn. And we should be able to just deal with it from there, as long as we keep everyone out of range of you. Should be okay. I do need to make sure that I'm also isolating Freandra though. Goto will move over here after that, and that's fine.
Truly? I'm with you.
We'll just wait right here. And
It will
we'll
be
move
done.
over this
At
way.
once.
You should probably just stay put and dance. If you don't, it really doesn't matter.
Ready.
I go.
Okay. And Goto, you're just going right here. I think I am going to open this up. Nothing should be able to reach us up there. And we'll wait. Yep. Ophelia gets danced. She's not in range. Nana does 0 damage times 2. Does a little bit post-combat, but
Ignore
that's
me
fine.
at your peril.
And since we shut down their other dancer, nothing else gets in range. Very good. So from here, we're going to be plonking Goto up in the tile where Ophelia is standing right now.
Upon your word.
I wonder, if I move Ash up a tile, he could break this. I can dance with Ninian. Ninian could potentially kill Ophelia and back out, and then that lets Goto move in here to intercept. That might be better. I like that idea.
Do not object.
I go.
So you break this,
What's
Ninian,
your
you go ahead and
plan?
dance.
I'm with
Take
you.
down the Ophelia. I love the just gigantic laser barrage that Ninian gets. It's very funny.
Upon your word.
Okay, and then Goto moves in. I don't know if there are going to be any rallies. I feel like there might be. But also don't think there should be anything too spooky
I
going on,
bestow my blessing.
Command.
if there are.
Maybe
I hope.
this way.
Pretty sure we're okay here. Yep, you're going to rally, get danced, but you're rallying in place, so that doesn't really get you any further forward. And we do get to kill the Azura, because she's isolated.
Farewell.
Down you go, Sonia. And yeah, at this point he's just sort of dusting off his sleeves and wondering, is there something that can do damage to me here?
Be gone.
Crom last match was quite spooky, but there are no dead eyes involved on this map. Honestly, I should probably see how Goto does into a Deadeye because he's actually got a really solid defense stat, especially when you consider that he's also slapping anything he fights with minus 20 attack, thanks to guard and his two preferred two perf skills. I should check that out, honestly, because, yeah. He ends up having around 74 defense, effectively. He probably wouldn't even take damage from the Crom. Oh shoot, I really should have used Goto on that last map, shouldn't I? Just to see it. That's okay. We'll bait out Triandra. Everyone else can start moving forward.
Lord Asker, guide us. Good morning.
Oh shoot, that's right.
Like this.
Okay.
Ready. I do not object. Show me what to do.
Down you go, Triandra. I'm curious to see what Triandra's going to get for her remix.
Be gone.
Out of all four of the Mythic Dancers, she's the one that I think got the absolute worst end of the deal, since she's a very low defense dancer on a dark dancer going into a season where Milla exists. And that's just really not good times for her.
Truly?
Upon your word.
Ready.
Maybe this way.
I go.
Yep, and Goto, you just move right there. And we'll let Zelkius close out the week.
The winter festival is upon us.
Huh?
The winter festival is upon us.
It's kind of behind us, but it will be upon us again someday. Alright, well, that was a honestly much rougher end to the AR season than I was expecting. Yeah. That second to last match was very spooky. I'm probably going to go back and take a look at that and just do some math to see if Goto could have survived Crom. Looking back at it and thinking about it, I think he probably could have. And I just have no faith in him because he's a completely unmerged mythic on a team I'm not really expecting to use too often on light weeks. It's an interesting thought. I honestly might have been a good idea to send a friend request over to that one just so I could test it, because it's definitely one of the spiciest defenses I've run into in a very long time. That Theme Team Tiki defense was also a lot trickier to navigate than I expected it to be. But I guess that's what I get for just jumping right into it. It was a fun week overall. Could have been a little bit cleaner on offense, but we did end up making it through, and we landed in a top 100 finish, so I think that's pretty good overall. Pretty good. Definitely going to have to polish up my light week stuff for next time though, because yikes. Need to do better at that. There's no reason for me to be slipping that hard. Next week is going to be a fun one. We're looking at a Chaos season next week, and Chaos weeks are always just a fun time. It's a nice way to just kick back and relax a little bit on both offense and defense, and to just have fun with some silly stuff. Silly stuff here also including this guy who made it into the top 2 of A Hero Rises, which was a bit of an eye-opener for me. I do think he's a solid unit and has a really fantastic bit of artwork. I wasn't expecting him to make it that far up, but there we are. There's a good chance we actually end up seeing him on the Hero Rises banners, so I'm curious to see how he ends up doing in player hands on an offense team in Chaos season. Should be fun. I did actually end up feeding him some extra skills to play with. I gave him a near save, as well as the far save to work with. Yes, I did also give him Hardy Fighter because I'm a degenerate, and Fjorm has pity broken me 3 times since I actually got her to +10, so I figured, oh, he's probably going to be a long-term merge project, and Hardy Fighter from Mortis does sound like he's just an obnoxious pain in the ass to kill, so, you know. Silly stuff. I'm not planning on using that for him on an offense team. I do think it's important for him to actually potentially kill whatever it is that's attacking into him. And something that I am thinking is also very important for any team using a Mortis on offense is to make sure that the rest of his team can clean things up in the player phase. On this one I've got Hell, who, as you've probably noticed through some of my offense matches, especially after Chaos Week started, is a very, very strong unit in player hands when you back her up with either a Far Save, which takes all of the magic and staves off the board and means her weapon's always online, or just give her Miracle and let her Miracle loop against entire enemy teams. She's a lot of fun. I'm only giving her one team this week. I do think I'm going to end up using Life and Death over Unity, since if I'm using Peony on the team as well, she neutralizes penalties, and that makes Unity a lot less valuable overall. Might end up giving her attack speed catch instead. I'm pretty sure I got that for her at the same time as speed res trace, so got reason for attack speed catch. That would probably be the better skill. Mortis should be fun though. I'm not entirely sure if I should even bother with Deflect on him over giving him Mystic Boost, for example. But with Elamine on the field, he does have healing available, so I don't think Mystic Boost is as important as making him just an impenetrable wall in the enemy phase. And then of course Lilith for null follow-up for Hell. Yeah, I think this team will do just fine. Might switch out Peony for a different dancer, we'll see. But I think Peony's a pretty solid fit across the board. This team is the near save flavor of Formortis, with a Byleth as the ranged specialist and or Vantage Sweeper. I really do like Byleth a lot, and paired with Formortis I think she does really well, since, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, Formortis really wants teammates who can sweep enemy teams in the player phase, because he does a really good job of stalling enemy teams, but that also can be a problem when you're dealing with a time limit of 7 turns. So you really need characters who are good in the player phase, as well as potentially being good in the enemy phase. Byleth honestly fits both of those boxes really well. He's really, really good at that, and yeah, just a great ranged specialist overall. Gatekeeper's not necessarily going to be a part of this team. I do think he's really good on an offense team as a support, and he might end up being on here. The extra attack and speed he can give Byleth from a long range is just really handy, and helps shut down enemy teams that try to overload Elamine by giving her too many targets to attack into. Or to try to false start, rather, not attack into. Something like a Catria with... or a Catria ball that also includes an Embla. You can only pick one of the two as long as they're in different columns, and that can make things very difficult to actually deal with. Hey there, Mangs, welcome to the stream. Defense held up pretty well. There were a few clean losses, but none of them actually counted. The only loss that did count was a sacrifice play, so Almost made it back to rank 1. We ended up in the top 100, and honestly that's good enough for me. I'm quite happy to stay up there. Right now we're just going over some brainstorming ideas for Chaos Week, which is, it's always fun for team building. This team I think is going to stay mostly the same as my last Chaos season, just a sort of hit and run with Claude and Byleth and Catria to enable triangle attacks, along with an Embla in the mix to just make sure that nobody has to worry about far saves intercepting anything. That Marth honestly caught me completely off guard. It's the first time I've ran into one that's been really invested, and yeah, the enemy phase Vantage Desperation nonsense is pretty spooky, turns out. You do not want to throw a Ninja Legurn into that. Vantage option, the really go-to vantage option would be Altina, not using Sabotage Speed. I gave her this actually to score for the currently running Mjolnir's Strike, since Renewal was her other option, and I want to give her something else. Renewal is just sort of there. I'm still very tempted to give her Pegasus Flight 4. I think she could do a lot of work with it, and it would be very funny to see a Pegasus Flight 4 Altina just slapping people with minus 16 attack and defense. Haven't quite talked myself into it yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. With that said, though, I do think she makes an absolutely fantastic Vantage unit, especially if you can back her up with a lot of support, like Eliwood, Bernie, Naga, to just carve through any of those blue dragons that have way more defense than they should. Might end up switching out the supports a little bit here. We'll see. I'll think about that one. I do think that this honestly just works really well on its own, and gives her basically all the support she needs to sweep through teams. She's actually done a lot of work for me over in Astro Seasons lately, with, hilariously, into Femortis teams, because as good as Femortis is on defense, if you force him to attack into you, he loses a lot of his scary factor, especially when he's attacking into someone like Altina, who's quite happy to just dunk on him since all he's hitting is attack and defense, and that just lets her res check him and continue getting the extra true damage and damage reduction, and a full value out of Twin Blades. Then of course this team is going to be the Gale Force option of the week. Thor being a bonus unit this season is, it's going to make things very interesting, especially when Gale Force is involved. And yeah, Thor being a bonus unit and backup Gale Forcer means that those blue walls that might get in the way of Edelgard don't actually give her as many problems anymore. And of course the hypermobility nonsense that these three enable is just always a little bit ridiculous, so should be fun. Not expecting to have problems with Chaos Weeks, they're usually a fairly easy ride, and it's, again, more about just having fun with team building and offense and seeing what people come up with. On the defense side of things, oh wait, that's results. On the defense side of things, as usual, I'm mostly planning to keep it to a mostly bonus unit theme on the defense. I actually have a few fun options for Book 2 bonus units with Garnef, Rajat, and Soth, along with Thor and Mortis, of course. Or I think should make a very interesting frontliner in her bonus week. It'll be interesting to see how many people can actually just break through her with a melee unit, or how many people can break through Mortis in his bonus week with ranged units. Should be an interesting time. And of course, if you try to bait here, we've got Garnef who can sweep anything that isn't magical. I'm probably going to give Verjot Water Sweep instead of Wind Sweep, since, yeah, Garnef's handling anything that isn't magical, which means we just want to make sure anything that is magical is getting swept one way or another. So there's a fun option too, and can just help pre-charge everybody's specials, and also Pulse Smoke any annoying specials away. It was a while back that I kind of realized that Soth was basically a preview of Pulse Smoke 4. I don't know when we're going to end up seeing it as an inheritable skill, but I fully expect it to basically read the entirety of this green text outside of the stats above 25%. It should honestly just be this for Pulse Smoke 4, where it's the basic Pulse Smoke, but also reverse pulses nearby allies. And that, assuming that's how it ends up working, is going to open up a lot of interesting doors for so many units, especially when it comes to things like Vital Astra and Godlike Reflexes. It's going to make those viable options for quite a few more characters. Should be fun times. I'm not expecting this defense to do terribly well in Chaos Weeks. I never do, and tend to end up getting pleasantly surprised, so we'll see how it works out. It's good stuff overall. Oh, that was a fun one, though. Spicy end of the week this week. It actually did get me to ladder once. I do think that map would have been beatable if I had taken some time to think it through and approach it properly. But definitely a scary map, and yeah, something I'll need to keep an eye on going forward. I really want to just go into that and rematch it and see if Goto could have tanked the Deadeye from Chrom. I think he could have, and if he could tank the Deadeye from Chrom, then well, there's not much else on that map that actually ends up scaring him. Especially since you'd get to break the enemy formation apart after that, and once it's broken apart, Catria balls are a lot less scary to deal with. It's an interesting idea, though. Honestly though, is not even something I'd thought about, is whether or not Goto can survive that just by virtue of throwing -20 attack at the Chrom in question. And I'm looking back at it and thinking, he's really not scared about that recharged Deadeye, is he? It might do somewhere around 10 to 20 damage, I think, at most. But he absorbs that, the follow-up gets hit by 80%, and then he just heals for 13 after combat and keeps on going. Definitely something to try next time I see a highly invested Chrom on a defense. I've avoided them so far with Goto, like I did earlier this stream, but I think that matchup is actually a lot better than I'm giving it Goto credit for, and fits right into my thought that Goto is, in fact, a very overlooked mythic who's going to be a lot stronger than people necessarily expect him to be. Will be interesting to see how that plays out. Looking ahead a little bit, there are far too many banners that I'm hoping to be able to pull on. We actually have a double special heroes banner coming up tomorrow that should have both Ninja Leguarn and Halloween Corn on it as a blue roster, which I would love to pull on. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. We'll see. We'll see by the time it ends. I do like picking up the orb packs. I haven't picked up all of them yet. There's still the Otherworld Bond pack that I haven't touched, the customization and the extra 4 missiles. So I might end up picking those up and seeing what my orb stash looks like. There's still a Hero Rises on the horizon, and the legendary banner at the end of the month. Way too many banners that I'd like to pull on, and not enough orbs to go around. We'll see. We will see. I hope everybody else is having good luck on their summons, and on their AR matches too. It's always nice when you actually get some good luck on summoning sessions. I've had ups and downs. There was, let me see, this banner, the Elincia banner that absolutely wrecked me. I did end up getting Elincia at the end of it, but I got her as the Spark, and the only 5-star that showed up before then that was in the main pool was a Brave Byleth. So, yeah, a little bit awkward. I don't know if I'm going to go back in on this. I don't think I will. As much as I would like to pick up Lucia, I don't think I'm going to end up going back for her on this banner. Hopefully she shows up again at some point. Would like to get her in the barracks, honestly. I liked her a lot in Radiant Dawn. And yeah, would be nice to just have her in the roster. Elincia is nice to have, though. She's quite solid, I think, just as a support, and is a genuine menace if you actually get her attacking somebody. So, good to see. Don't know what we're going to get for the next Special Heroes banner. I'm hoping that I'll be able to skip it the way I did with this one, since I just don't have as many orbs as I'd like to throw around right now. Not expecting to skip this legendary banner. I'm not sure who we're going to end up getting for it. I think it's going to be a green or colorless legendary, whoever it is. kind of leaning towards green, since Eitree's not actually in that block, it's Xander and somebody else sharing there. It's either that or colorless, and I'm not quite sure who it's going to be. We'll find out soon enough. It's only about a week away, and we should be getting the trailer by next Monday, probably Sunday. There's stuff to look forward to. In terms of the channel content, I am planning to dip back into Engage one more time on Wednesday to tackle the Tempest Trials. See how spooky that top level of Tempest Trials is past the first map. I've been doing a little bit of farming of the skirmishes over the last couple of days and just trying to work my main team up stat-wise so that they can actually hold their own, because those enemies are very spooky at the top level of Trials. We'll see how it goes. Should be fun. That should basically be the entire stream, is just tackling the top Tempest Trial level. And then on Friday, we should be cracking open Octopath Traveler 2, which is a game I'm really looking forward to. The demo was a lot of fun, and if you're curious about the game, I would highly recommend checking out the demo. Worth mentioning that the demo is not listed on its own in the eShop. You have to go to the Octopath Traveler 2 main title page, and you can download the demo from there. But again, like I said, if you're curious about the game, would highly recommend checking it out. The music is just, it's really, really good music in that game. Gameplay's a lot of fun, and so far I'm enjoying the characters I've been introduced to, so looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. Yeah, and I think that's about everything for today's stream, so thank you to everybody who's tuned in. It's great to be able to share this with everybody. The highs and the lows. We, again, had a bit of a spicier end of the week match set than I was used to, but honestly I think that's a good thing. It's good to get challenged every now and then and get reminded that there's always room to improve. And that no, you can't just always throw a team into the defense, expect it to work out, and not do any planning ahead of time. It's good things to be reminded of. But yeah, like I said, should be about it. I should stop rambling and wrap things up. So, like I said, thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Great to be able to share this with everybody, and I wish you all the best of luck with your offense matches, defense matches, summoning sessions, and just fun overall with this game and any other games that you're playing. So, good luck with all of it, take care, and I will see you all again next time.